Good morning, people. What's going on? Welcome to United View. Welcome to the Morning View. International break has begun. Lads have got 2 weeks off. Well, they're at international duty, most of them. But Manchester United football operations have ceased for 2 weeks. Yeah, there you go. Manchester United Football Club, PLC, has ceased for 2 weeks.
100%. It was 100% of Manchester United PLC. Football operations.
There will be no football operations for approximately 14 days. But there is still going to be news. There's still going to be things to talk about, as there is straight away today, with Ben Jacobs sort of doing an opinion piece yesterday saying that, it's an all or nothing bid from Sheikh Jassim. Qatar basically may have to pay more. They didn't want to do that, but they will. Also, David Beckham, I know it was a couple of days ago now, but we haven't really had a chance to talk about it live.
Yeah.
He had a little cryptic, little Big Dave say, you know what I mean? You're like,
And there's links. There's links. We're going to get the string out, the yarn. We're going to get we're going to get the board out, and we're going to pull some strings, put them together, and all this kind of stuff. Oh, we're very excited.
Exactly. Court Star says, unbeaten in our last game. Fire emojis. Yes, exactly. Who would have thought we would be unbeaten in our last game? It means everything to us. Simon McGill says, big up everyone. Smash the like and Glazers out. Good morning, Red, says Kenny. Joe Blackman, good morning, UV crew. Somebody who caught me in Owen's eye at the beginning. G Guard said, cup of tea ready, bacon and egg balm ready. Let's watch this show. And Owen was like, I'm never up making food.
No, this was a shout out to all the parents out there, all the parents and caregivers, because I was saying that as you get older and you become an adult, you sort of, I don't know about you, Flex. I wake up in the morning and I'm hungry. I'm always hungry. Look at me. I'm always hungry. But I'm going, can I be bothered? Can I be bothered to actually cook something? And, eggs and bacon in the morning, that's a bit of an effort. You've got to, turn the stove on or whatever. You've got to prepare. You've got to grease the pan and all that kind of stuff. And then deal with the washing up afterwards and make sure you clean everything.
And basically laziness. You're just lazy, basically.
Well, yeah. But, but parents aren't. I said, I remember the times in my childhood. I used to wake up a little young Owen, yawn in the morning. I go, I can smell something, and it would be food cooking early in the morning. Even better than that, you wake up and you sort of sit up in bed. Next thing you know, door opens. It's a plate of food. It's a plate. I made you some sandwiches. Oh, yeah,
100%. I do hear you. I do hear you on that.
Yeah.
Good morning, UV family, says John James. And Kenny Fan TV says, good evening, everyone. 3 point collectors in the building. We are so shameless. Look at that. Look at the feeling. Lovely. But let's get into this. Ben Jacobs had a piece yesterday, giving his opinion, or his, as he understood the current state of play to be, as he always does. He's been all right across this. I feel for people like Mike Keegan and people at Bloomberg and Financial Times and people like Ben Jacobs. You can't help but feel when they finally get that, that breaking news, whoever's going to do it, like whoever's going to get it, they're going to deserve an award.
Yeah.
like imagine it's Ben Jacobs and he said, I got the scoop. I got the whole, Qatar have agreed to deal. That big breaking that we just haven't had yet. I hope it isn't like someone and big up to David Ornstein, but I hope someone doesn't come in and rob it.
Well, do you think also as well, I'm sure that probably 3 or 4 times they've probably been told, hey, tomorrow, I keep my eye out tomorrow, and then it doesn't happen. They go, I could have gone big last night and I didn't, thank God, because it could have blown up in their faces a lot. So, and I think it was even David Hellier that said that, I've been told a couple of times that coming into the week. Yeah, exactly. But indeed, Ben Jacobs has written about the latest developments when it comes to the Man United takeover, specifically the Qatari slant on things, and he has said that Sheikh Jassim is still committed to a full buyout of Manchester United, which means 100% of the club, including the Glazers' share. He will not budge on that. It's an all or nothing bid. There's no scenario where the 9-2 Foundation and Sheikh Jassim would entertain staying on course for Manchester United if the Glazers want to stay. They do not want any scenario where they're the minority investor, where the Glazers remain. They don't want any scenario where they don't have 100% of the club. It's just about whether or not not they can agree on a price. And as a consequence, they may have to go higher and ultimately pay what it takes. So despite this all or nothing push, they're saying, and the last bid was, this is £5 billion. That's it. We've committed to paying more, but not to you, to the club, removing the debt, training ground, stadium, players, etc., etc., etc. But it's £5 billion. That's it. We're not budging. Ben Jacobs is essentially saying, well, you know, if they want it, they're going to have to budge because the Glazers are not going to budge. And there might be some alternatives on the table. And it's an exploration of strategic alternatives in the first place. There are alternatives on the table, and that's what they're looking at. And as you mentioned, Flex, the interesting sort of wrinkle in this, the sort of new part of it, was David Beckham talking over the weekend. I think he was at the F1, and
Yeah, he was, yeah.
And they were asking him, you know, his documentaries come out, so they're asking him about his documentary, his career, Manchester United and the takeover. And Beckham gave some pretty, you know, non-plus answers. But really, the thing he was saying that is we all want to have continuity as Manchester United fans. There's a lot of noise surrounding the club. We want that noise to go away. And then interestingly, he said, I think I know the best people to bring Manchester United back to where they once were. So we'll have to wait and see. And then the reporter said, is that Sheikh Jassim? And he said, well, we'll have to see. And it's curious. It's very curious because we know, of course, David Beckham has very strong ties to Qatar, particularly the sporting side of things. One of PSG's first big signings where he ended his career was David Beckham, of course. After that, he was an ambassador for the Qatar World Cup as well. There have been rumors that if the 9-2 Foundation were to be successful, and look, it's called the 9-2 Foundation. David Beckham was part of the class of 92. But if he was the 9-2 Foundation was successful, there's a chance he might even be involved in Manchester United, whether it be on an ambassadorial level or maybe a bit more than that. He's become bigger than just a former football player at this point, hasn't he? I mean, he's a club owner himself with Inter Miami in the MLS. He signed Lionel Messi. He's done big deals. So, I don't know. Do you think he knows something that we don't, Flex?
He'll definitely know things that we don't know, like behind the scenes in terms of what's going on, you know, with Qatar and Sheikh Jassim and stuff like that. Because, like you said, he's affiliated. And let's not get it twisted. When he says, "I think I know the people who would be, you know, good for United," he ain't talking about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He ain't. Not with his ties to Qatar, and not with like him just going down that road for no reason. Like, I think I can tell you who's good, but you know, I have to wait and see. You know?
Yeah, he
like,
did.
There's no need. Like, we
if
know.
You watched the interview too. He was like, he thought about that before he said it.
Unprompted. They didn't even ask him that specific part. Like, do you know David who would be good? And he goes, yeah, I do actually. But no, he went there himself. So and obviously we're not stupid, like you said, with his Qatar ambassadorship, you know, across the World Cup and having links to that part of the world and from PSG. There's no way that the links that he's talking about is going to be Ineos, is it? It's just not. So, and like you said, the rumors, Ineos, and the rumors that, you know, if they were to be successful, the 9-2 Foundation, Sheikh Jassim, yeah, it all coincides, doesn't it? It all fits. It all fits, which could be amazing if that was to happen, by the way. No, what kind of, that would, if you could write the script, I don't think you could write it much more.
What are you saying? We'll get Messi on loan in January on the off season.
Well, I mean, I wasn't daring to dream that far, but yeah, you know, I mean, just like that whole 9-2 Foundation get it, Sheikh Jassim gets it. You know, David Beckham's either on the board of advisors or is back in the club in some capacity where he's, you know, a bit more present at Old Trafford. And, you know, you want to get, you shouldn't be handing out jobs just to legends just because, you know, they are who they are. But like you said, there's a bit of legitimacy to Beckham, as that isn't just a token gesture. Like you said, he's running his own club. He's just done arguably one of the biggest deals in football. Not because I know there's been like big ones with Ronaldo to Man United and, you know, Neymar and Mbappe and, you know, more current, you know what I mean? Like, look at PSG and Real Madrid and all those type of teams. That's like now signings. I get that. But make no mistake, getting Messi to Inter Miami is wild. Like,
to the MLS.
I think to the MLS. Like, I think we've just skimmed over it because we got a bit used to it that he went there and scored like 6 and 6. And look at Messi taking a piss out of the league. Do you know what type of deal that is? Like, when you watch the documentary, no spoilers, but you know, when he gets into Miami, there's a host of players who send little messages saying like, "Oh yeah, if you ever need a hand," you know. Messi's like, "My phone's on," and he's like, "Yeah, all right." Give me a couple of years, I'm going to ring you.
Yeah.
And then he's there. So, but look, I'm not saying that's why he should be our technical director or football director. I'm just saying there's a bit of legitimacy to just Beckham the token as a superstar.
Yeah.
He's a very good businessman. But back to Sheikh Jassim and that, yeah, it's very interesting because what we were talking about is like they're not going to pay any more. They're not going to budge on that. But what Ben Jacobs is alluding to, the thing that he's not going to budge on, isn't necessarily the price. It's they won't budge on the type of deal that they want. It's all or nothing. They're committed to a full buyout, which means 100% of the club, 100%, including Glazer's shares. So and then he says he will not budge on that. It's an all or nothing. So, they are not budging on the fact that Sir Jim Ratcliffe made it a bit more attractive to the Glazers. You can stay if you want. We can work something out. No, we're not working nothing out. It is all or nothing. Now, if they don't budge, though, because someone said in the chat, they think that the Qataris shouldn't budge. They let the sale price plummet and just back the Glazers into a corner where they're like, they really aren't budging. We're just going to have to sell. We're just going to have to sell. But with that, it's how long does it take? Who's going to
blink?
Do it?
Yeah. Who's going to blink first?
Yeah.
Here's my question to you then, Flex. Do you think we see one more bid? One more from Qatar, from Sheikh Jassim? Do you think we see one more, which is maybe he goes to 6 and say, you wanted 6, that's what you wanted, there's 6 of you, here's 6 billion, and all 6 of you can piss off, and he does something like that? Do you think we go one more? But they were very, very steadfast. They drew their line in the sand, didn't they? They said, this genuinely is it. We are not going any further. We are, if they, I don't even know, because they keep saying, oh, there's no response. Yeah, it always makes me laugh when he said they go, you still haven't responded to that bid. You go, that was months ago. Imagine that. Imagine sending them.
Just not said. Do you think that's true? You just haven't said one thing back. Do you think that's true?
You imagine, when you pay for something online and you get your little merchant seller thing, and you go, you need to approve this bid, this transaction. Go to your little app and you go, approve, put password in or whatever. And imagine you just didn't get confirmation. You go, I think I've bought. I don't know. Do you think it's impending? It's in the pending transactions bit, 5 bill or whatever. I mean, they must have very least some confirmation of we got the offer. Don't worry.
Yeah, it has arrived in our inbox.
It's not been in spam for ages.
Yeah.
But it's funny that, because you would have thought at the very least they would say, we've got it, we're thinking about it. So I think they're being a bit facetious with their words there. I think it's kind of like, when they say response, I think they mean in terms of either accepting it or declining it, one would think, right? I have a prediction that I think we might see this one more bid. I don't know when. I don't know when it will be, but I wouldn't be shocked. I don't know.
Do you think it'll be a little bit of a top up or a straight 1 billion extra? Because they might be like 5.5 or 5.4. We'll give an extra 400 grand, or we'll give you 400 million.
Yeah, I don't know. I because as a fan, and it isn't me leaning to one side or the other. It's more just a case of just to get this done, the takeover process done. You would hope that it would be, 6 billion. That's what you wanted. There you go. But part of me also thinks that I don't even know if the Glazers would accept 6 billion.
That's what I mean. I think they want more.
Sometimes you put a price out there and they go, okay, there you go. You go, well, actually.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were going to give that.
100%.
Yeah, so I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if it went to 5.5, something like that. Where you go, for all intents and purposes, it's basically there. But it's all just this giant, contest, isn't it? Between all of these people. No one wants to be seen to have lost face or to have blinked in this scenario. The Qataris, they want to, ensure that they haven't overpaid. But frankly, if they've got £5 billion on the table, they've already overpaid because it's not worth £5 billion. And they know that. The Glazers and the Rain Group, who of course are pushing this too, they want to get close to what they had started out, thinking that they were going to get. So I'm sure the Rain Group probably said to the Glazers from the earliest, you can get 6 billion for that easy. Look, all these other ones, they went for like 3 or 4. You get 6. Man United, of course, you can get 6 billion. And then the fact that they kind of haven't, maybe the Glazers might look to the Rain Group and say, hey, I thought we were meant to be getting close to 6 billion. They're offering 5. Initially, it was like 4. what's going on there? And I go, just wait your time. We'll get there. And if they get to 5.5, maybe then they get the advice from their own group, accept that. Actually, we're pretty close now. I don't know. But I still think one more bid will come in. I don't know if it'll be for 6 day. What say you?
I don't know, man. I still feel like the Qataris are like, we're not scared by the Sir Jim Ratcliffe thing. 25%,
Do you think
yeah,
they believe
we really
it?
got the funds.
Do you think they believe it?
Because actually, we have to remember the bid still ain't been made. That story was Sir Jim Ratcliffe is thinking of lodging that type of bid.
Well, it's one of the options. It's one of the options.
One of the options, because he just wants to win, just wants to get in there. So I don't think we can say the Qataris will stick or twist. I don't think we can say the Qataris will twist until they see something down on the table and then assess it. And even then, they might say, with what we're offering, it's still better than that. It's still better than that. They know they've won the fans over, or most of, because I know there's been a few flags saying no to Qataris, and not everyone agrees. I understand that. So I don't want to talk unanimously for everyone. I can only talk for me, and I know Owen, you want the Qataris, and I know a lot of people in the community want the Qataris. Not everybody, so I'm speaking for those people. But they've won the majority of the fans for sure, especially with Sir Jim Ratcliffe always coming with this notion that the Glazers can be part of this rebuild. The Glazers can be slowly phased out. The biggest noise from the fans is full sale only. Full sale only. It comes with other criticisms that could happen because it's going to be Qatar, but that's a different story. But I think what everyone does agree on is that everybody wants the Glazers to go. Everybody. Some people are happy for them to go in stages if it means getting to Jim Ratcliffe. Most people, I would say, from what I've seen, want it to be Qatar in one sweep, just get them all out in one go. I don't think the Qataris are going to bid again. Not yet. I think until maybe something actually changes from Sir Jim Ratcliffe's official line, another bid has gone in the context of this, not thinking of or might do. He has to do it. Then I think there could be movement. But until that happens, I think the Qataris stay exactly where they are. Because for every day that they haven't got a yes or an acceptance, they also haven't got a denied. You know what I mean? They haven't got a no.
It's a good
and
point.
There's a reason why they haven't got a no.
It's a good point. I hadn't really thought that maybe the key to a new Qatari bid is indeed if Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos do actually officially tweak their bid or they change their bid. As of right now, as some of the reports have come out, they've sort of suggested that, Sheikh Jassim and his 9-2 Foundation look at it as, you're just trying to get more money out of us. We don't buy it. We don't believe it. The noises that we're hearing suggest that, his bid's still dead in the water, so we're not going to put any more money in. But to your point, if it did then come out of actually no, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, they've changed the bid officially. They've submitted a refined or revised proposal. It's 25%. It's in stages, blah, blah, blah. They're actively negotiating now. Maybe that is the time which, the 9-2 Foundation go, oh, shit, actually, it's real. Right, let's put in 5.5. Let's test the waters. Because every single time they've put in new bids throughout this process, it's been on the back of the feeling that actually Ineos might have jumped the queue a little bit and they might be leading it. So maybe that's what we're waiting for. But I mean, as far as this getting finished anytime soon, we're rapidly closing in on a year, Fleck. Yeah, rapidly closing in. It was just as the World Cup was starting that statement came out about the exploration of strategic alternatives. We are now on the 9th of October. So we're about, a month away? We're in our 11th month, 10th month, however you want to look at it, of this process, and it doesn't feel like we're any closer. So we might be celebrating a 1-year anniversary of the exploration of strategic alternatives. What a long exploration. God, it's like a journey, isn't it? And was it 2 steps forward, 3 steps back? Ended up going backwards. I don't know. But
yeah,
hopefully we get a resolution. Do you think we get a resolution before the end of the year?
No.
In 3 months' time?
No. But then it's like, you can say no, because that's another 3 months you're saying it ain't happening, which I am saying. But the question, when do you think there ever will be?
That's one thing.
Bad thing.
When?
I feel like there just never will be.
Yeah, never.
There just never will be.
I mean?
That bid will be there for 10 years unanswered. Remember that time when Sheikh Jassim and Qatar they bid for the club and there was just never no response. That was 10 years ago.
It's one of those weird things.
Pathetic.
It's almost like like Sir Alex when he's in charge of United. And people go, when do you think he'll retire? And everyone goes, never,
Yeah.
never. And then when it does happen, you go, oh my God, this is seismic. I can't believe this. But it feels like when you're in it at the moment, you go, I don't know when this is going to end. I don't know. Could anyone put it in the chat? Put a month. Put a month and a year, actually. It's important to say the year. Put a month and a year. When will the takeover situation be resolved? I would love to know. I would love to see how many people say 2023 or a month in 2023. Or are you saying, May 2024 or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think. Do you think the Qataris and Sheikh Jassim, the 9-2 Foundation, do you think they should make a move now? I know, we're all desperate for the club to be sold, but are you saying don't care what it takes? Why aren't they just paying more? Just pay more, just do it. Or do you think they should, sort of play the game a little bit? So Jim Ratcliffe trying to come through with a different type of bid and is thinking about it. But, do you see why the Qataris haven't changed their bid? So let us know what you think. Couple of super chats here, or quite a few actually. Aminor says, Owen, I'm listening to you while making egg, beans and tea. Or could be toast, but probably tea, I'm not sure. Wow, big up Aminor. He's making his egg and beans. Yeah. But if it's egg beans, it must be toast in it, I would have thought. Lil Yo-Yo says, get the thobe ready, Mr. Fleck Altani. No, not quite yet, mate. Not quite yet. I need more.
Is that still in your wardrobe?
Yeah, I've got both of them in my wardrobe right now. I brought them back. When they gave them to me, they gifted them to us. I was thinking, how am I going to get this back? I don't have enough space. And I was like, I have to keep this. It's such a, nice gift. And and also if I go back to that part of the world, it's so comfortable to wear. I was like, I have to find a way. So yeah, I've got them all hung up, and I've got like the head parts of it as well, sort of tucked away, all ready for the day, mate. All ready for the day. Stephen Grant says, why don't they join forces with Sir Jim and Qatar? Well, as we've seen why. Qatar ain't on no joining forces.
Not interested,
nonsense, no. Yeah. We don't need your help. We don't need no join force, yeah? We are the force, yeah? We are the Jedis, Owen. You know what I mean? We are.
Now, do you understand that reference?
Force.
No, no. See, I knew where you were going with that one. That's not.
We are the Jedi Force. Is that? Can I say that?
They're the sort of beanie man and all of this, right?
Yeah, we'll swap it. We'll swap like both the two things we know nothing about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, but the Force may the Force be with you. All of that Jedi Force,
yeah.
We're that. Qatar is that. Like, they're powerful.
What we want a situation where in the future where we're celebrating, we're listening to dance hall.
Yeah, dance. Yeah, could you say it a bit more smoother than that? Don't have to go dance hall. Just dance hall.
Dance hall. We're listening to dance hall in the dance hall.
There you go. Yeah.
To Beanie Man.
Let's get to Samanga. Samanga says it's all about Rashi, Bruno, Mason, and Sanchi. They all play for the Red Army. And who the manager? Ten Hagi, a rendition of KG's song that has made as a disgrace and cheat ever since he made it up, to be honest.
But the guy liked it. He did. Yeah.
Yes, Beanie Man did like it. Exactly, yeah. He did. He saw it and he liked it.
He laughed. He laughed. Actually.
Yeah, he laughed. Yeah, that doesn't mean he liked it. He could be like, look at these idiots. What is this? Oh my days. Yeah, exactly. Smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're on our way to 156. That would be nice to hit that over the next few weeks or so. And where are we at likes wise? We are at 142, just under 1,200 people watching as well. So if we could push that up, it'd be much appreciated. Big up DJ in the chat. He's in there getting involved. Lil Yo-Yo, of course, is getting involved as well. Big up all the other mods that we've got about the place as well. John James, another one. Trying to see if there's any more mods in there. No. But a lot of regulars. Kristen, I see you. Show, I see you. Aminor, see you. Jason, Joe Blackman, Wayne, old Greg as well. There's a couple more as well. There you go, Simon McGill. We see Simon in here. And many others. Steffi Jenks is there. I'm hiding, she says, but she is there. There you go. She is there. Big up to you. Right, Owen.
Jaden Sancho.
Jaden Sancho.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose because it's international break, we're going to get a lot of this. And this one is as well from the Sun. So
yeah, so take it with a
mean,
pinch of salt, but I suppose it opens the conversation up that this is the sort of general state of play. So as you mentioned, it's been reported that Juventus may want to sign Jaden Sancho on loan in January with a view of turning it into a permanent deal for £60 million next summer. Juventus are reportedly willing to pay half of Jaden Sancho's wages if indeed he does join them on loan. Sancho apparently does not want to return to Borussia Dortmund. He'd much rather rebuild his career at Juventus, according to this article, which again, already you sort of get whiffs of, bullshit from it because they were just saying, what was it last week? Well, he's already, they're saying in Germany, he's talking to the Dortmund manager and Florian Plettenberg, I will never go against him again, ever. After how he operated during the summer transfer window regarding Harry Kane going to Bayern Munich, when all of the journalists, the domestic journalists over here were going, oh, I think he's a bit on the fence. Oh, I don't know. Plettenberg, was saying he's going to be playing in the Super Cup in 24 hours. And everyone's going, that's not what we're here. You were there, Flex.
I was there,
You were sitting next to the guy. He's going, that's not really what we're hearing. He's going, he will play in the Super Cup tomorrow. And I was like, I'm not, there's a fee hasn't even been agreed, let alone a medical. Harry Kane was on the bench for the Super Cup, came on.
You should have seen what it was like after when we went off air. So we had a chat with the same reporter. Oh, what's his name? Paul Gilmore.
Yes.
I think it is. Yeah. I caught up with him actually in Germany, didn't I, afterwards? But yeah, when we had a chat after that, it was very much like everyone looked at each other, and obviously he's a senior reporter on that story, and he was like you said, that's just not what we've been talking about. And we were like, oh, German media, a bit forward, aren't they? You know what I mean? It was that, and I'll be honest, it was kind of Schneidi, like they're not going to be right. He's coming from Spurs, he's coming from the Premier League. We'll know better. And now, mate, like you said, Plettenberg, he sat everyone down, mate. He sat everyone down. So that is a proper Nigel Farage who all laughed at me. That one is.
Yeah, literally. It wasn't, and it's not even. It was definitive. It wasn't like he said, "Oh no, Harry Kane will join Bayern Munich," and he did. You go, "Wow, 50-50." He said, not only is he joining, he's playing in the Super Cup, and the Super Cup was in like less than 24 hours at that point.
Yeah, and the way he spoke about his sources, he was like, I've spoken to people at Bayern today, and they are convinced.
They're telling me,
and they are telling me that he will be, play some part in the Super Cup. What? What do you mean? He ain't even got on a plane. He ain't even been agreed yet.
Yeah, he's playing tomorrow.
I know Germany's not exactly far, but
yeah, but and the point is, so if he's saying that about Jaden Sancho and talking to the Borussia Dortmund manager, it would imply that there's something in that, certainly. So I would argue that a loan move to Dortmund in January is far more likely with that one. But when you also take a step back, Flex, and you just look at this entire situation, what a mess. I know that more time continues to go on and you kind of get numb to it a little bit. Ten Hag still will get asked in every press conference, and latest with Jaden, is he going to be available? And Ten Hag at this point is stopped even using words. He just shakes his head at this point because there's nothing more to say with it as well. But I look at, for instance, the game at the weekend. What happened at halftime? Casemiro got sent off. Got taken off. Excuse me.
Taken off, man.
I'm used to it. He got taken off. And after the game, Ten Hag got asked, why was he taken off? And he said, I wanted more football. Now, I think people ran with that a little bit more than what he actually meant. Because if you do watch the press conference, he kind of implies, I wanted to be better on the ball. I wanted someone that could progress the ball better than Casemiro. And Christian Eriksen can progress the ball better than Casemiro. He essentially said, I wanted a better technical player. But people looked at that and said, I wanted more football and blah, blah, blah. With that, what does Casemiro do? Does he release a statement, Flex? Does he then slag off a manager? I could have played the whole 90 minutes. I've won 5 Champions Leagues. Who is he? What has he won? All that kind of stuff. No. Because guess what?
On with it.
Manager picks the team. Manager makes the decisions. Whether they're right, whether they're wrong, whether you agree with them, whether you don't agree with them, whether you've got axes to grind or you don't. That's how football works. And also, as time goes on, I don't know if you've noticed this, but you notice it at, guess what? Every club. Managers come out after the game. They'll say, what about this player? Why wasn't this player? Who's the guy the other week with Chelsea? And they asked him, well, why wasn't he in the team? And Poch went, yeah, he went, why wasn't he? He went, I just didn't pick him. Whatever. Where's throwing him under the bus? He's awful. I can't believe the manager would do this, blah, blah, blah. And you go, come on, man. Like, It's football. Like, that's how it works. And it's just the more that time goes on, and the more you've got a situation where, you know, a player's refusing to apologize for the manager for responding to a question. It's baffling to me. It really is. And it's a shame. It's a shame that it's come to that, but it's over. It is. It'll go in January.
Yeah. It just reinforces what we already know, man. Like, he ain't going to play for us again. And it is sad because Jaden Sancho was supposed to be the one. Jaden Sancho really was it. You know what I mean? He was supposed to be the player who was highly tipped around Europe, going to come in, change our fortunes on the right-hand side. Is he the answer to the right-hand side? You know, then Ollie comes out a few weeks ago and says we actually bought him and realised he plays in Marcus's position. You know, great. But, you know, essentially it is that, though. No, it is that. And it's like, is there a bit of misprofiling us thinking, you know, the club, you know, doing what they do, which is not getting the right style, right type of player, right characteristics, right attributes, then using him wrong, then couple that with, you know, the sort of the breakdown in fight and stuff that and you know, momentum that Sancho had for large periods where he couldn't get going, then obviously up to this point. So look, it's a broken, fractured relationship that again needs to end. And now you can say that the club hold the cards because essentially, you know, the manager's won that argument and, you know, he's out the squad. But essentially, Sancho holds the cards or has power, because also to get rid of him now, that's going to cost us. That's a bad one. That is it, and it's on the terms of he's got a bad attitude, or there's issues going on there that the buying club's going to have to consider. It's going to drop his value, and he's had a crap 3 years, 2 years, whatever it's been, 2 and a bit years. He's had a rubbish time here. So his stock has fallen from the 77 million that we paid for him, or 73 million, whatever it was. And he's in this position where buying clubs know we have to, he can't turn back. So we have to sell him. We want to sell him. We're in desperate need to sell him. And the player wants to get out. Do you know what I mean? And we got to pay him off. So we're going to have to, you know, really be creative and try and still get a decent deal for when Sancho does leave, because I know we're in desperate times to get rid of him and we don't sell well. But if we don't put our foot down and try and get something good out of that situation, we're going to get pants pulled down, mate.
You know, it depends how desperate he is to leave too, isn't it? I mentioned before that if he's, you know, I'm never going to play for Man United again, then, well, how willing are you never to play for United again? Because maybe you just sort of say to you about your contract, forget it, I don't need it. It's not about the money. Its principle's been ruined at this point. I just want out. So you're right. I think it's going to be difficult anyway in terms of price. One, because we're Man United and we're terrible at selling. Even if, you know, even if things were good, we'd struggle to sell him for a decent price because we're just rubbish at it. Given the situation, clubs coming in for him. It's January too, so clubs don't have the budget that they have for the summer. So that's difficult. It will probably be a loan, let's face it. He's not going to go for 50 million. Unless, the only other thing you could say is...
Not on them wages.
The only other thing could be, I know they think he turned down a Saudi loan move in the summer. Maybe, you know, a Saudi team comes in again and says, "Hey, we'll take him off your hands permanently as well, 50 million.
Yeah, imagine that.
And we'll pick up his wages." Oh. Maybe. We don't really know how the Saudi clubs are going to operate in the January transfer market.
Yeah, we haven't seen it before, have we?
We haven't really seen that. So there might be another big wave come January that we didn't really expect. So that might be something that United consider. But it depends what Sancho wants to do. Does he want to stay in Europe? Does he want to go back to Dortmund? Does he want to go to a Juventus? Does he want to go elsewhere? Does he want to stay in the Premier League? Does the Premier League team come in, like a Chelsea or something like that? That'll be really interesting. And I think, to be honest, I think some of these sort of younger players might be looking at the Saudi Pro League and how maybe certain players are being treated there at an international level and saying, actually, if I go there, is my international career not over? You know, you look at people like, you know, Henderson still being picked for the England squad, despite being in the Saudi Pro League. Of course, you know, the more senior players there, like your Neymars and Ronaldos, they're still being picked at an international level. So maybe a Sancho might look at it in January and say, hey, actually, I can go there. Maybe I can get back into the England squad. But I even still think with him, with England, we spoke about this the other day, didn't we? That he is now, even when he was playing at United, so far behind those other players in that squad because they're so great attacking players that he'd have to... This is a question then. Does the best version of Jaden Sancho get ahead of some of the best version of some of those other English attacking players that we've got right now?
The best version.
Yeah. So, for instance, who have we got in those positions? We've got Saka. Grealish, Foden.
Stacked. Well, Maddison can play out there now. Rashford.
Does the best version of Jaden Sancho get ahead of those?
Well, no, he wasn't really. Even when he was the best version of himself, he still wasn't the starter, was he? He was coming. It was at that point when Sancho was at his peak, right?
Euro 2020.
We were saying, start him a bit more. It was Rashford. Then it would have been the beginning of Saka. Would have been Foden. It would have been the beginning of Grealish-ish.
Yeah, Sterling was still playing.
Sterling was doing the bits. Sterling was the man for England. So he was never starting. He's never been the main man at England. He's always been in and out because of his form. But when he was going for his top form,
and other issues,
when he was going for his top form, he was always in the squad and was like, oh God, how's Gareth not getting Jaden Sancho? And look how good he is. But I don't think he's ever managed to hold it down long enough to be able to get past those guys. But to answer your question, it depends on the type of football you want to play. Because the best version of Saka, I'm having over best version of Jaden Sancho. The best version of Rashford. I mean, the best version of Rashford is when he's confident, bit between his teeth, isn't really thinking. It's like sometimes he can just go past anyone, like they're not there. Different type of player. But
you probably Grealish. I'd have him over Sancho. Best version of Grealish.
Yeah. Although Grealish annoys me, I do think he's overrated though. But you can't deny the impact. At his best, you have him over that. Foden, definitely. Yeah.
Even you could argue best version of Sterling for England.
I was about to say, peak Sterling, he carried England when Harry Kane weren't doing that. Through them Euros, he got us through the groups.
He started the season pretty well for Chelsea as well, Sterling.
Yeah. He's in a hard team where they haven't done nothing. He's back to his best. And I saw interviews with him because I was covering a bit of Chelsea during the transfer window, and he was like, he was in an interview saying, "I'm going to be the top scorer." Like,
I saw that. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I know it was a bit jokey, but he's intent on doing well again, and he's definitely doing that. The fact that he wasn't even in the England squad before was pathetic. Is he not in this one as well?
Here's one. Best version of Show Ramen, shout in the chat, says best version of Jared Bowen or best version of Sancho.
Nah, let's not do that. Let's not do that because we're talking about best versions. Let's not. I know it's gone south, but because the best version is nothing to do with Man United. The best version is Dortmund.
We're talking about peaks that we've seen in their career. Yeah, and Sancho's had a bigger peak than Jared Bowen. He has 100% in the Bundesliga,
and that's why I'm saying let's not do that.
Right now, you would take Jared Bowen over Jaden Sancho any day of the week. Any day of the week.
Jared Bowen over Anthony. Do you know what I'm saying?
But you would say Sancho if we're saying best version of Sancho, which we've seen, we've seen at Dortmund, is better than Bowen.
And also, you got to. I know he hasn't come to that age yet or that period of his career yet, but a man who's like been at the top level of European football and won stuff and done stuff in the Champions League, Barcelona away and Real Madrid, playing against big teams and doing bits, playing against Bayern, sitting man down, scoring, winning. Like, I know you say, yeah, but Bowen hasn't played for them, so we don't know. Yeah, but Sancho has. Like, let's not take that. You can't in a comparison. You can't take away what someone has done and try and give it to someone who hasn't done it. So, yeah.
But this is a good example that sometimes in football with transfers, stuff doesn't work out. You don't always see that version of that player at your club. We all thought we were hoping we were going to see that version of Jaden Sancho. That version of Jaden Sancho has never appeared at United, even for a really short amount of time. We've never seen that at United. Now you can say for whatever reason why, but it hasn't. And it just feels like this is a transfer. And to be honest, even before the season started, in this instant with him and Ten Hag, people were sort of saying there was a conversation last season, wasn't there? Was Sancho a flop at this point?
Yeah.
And it feels safe to say at this point, this is a transfer clearly that just hasn't worked out. It's one of many. It's not the first in Manchester United history, particularly recent history.
Another one to add.
No, it's not the first of but those players that you buy for a lot of money and there's a lot of hope and there's a lot of expectation on it. And at the end of their tenure, and for Sancho, either it's January or next summer, we go, that didn't work out.
It's really sad that he's another one that we're just going to add into the wash basket sort of thing. You look at Pogba, you look at Lukaku,
Di Maria.
You look at Di Maria, you look at Falcao, you look at Alexis Sanchez, and now Jaden Sancho's in that. It's like he is. He really, really is. We laughed at Pepe for ages. Oh, look at Arsenal spending 70 odd million on Pepe. Oh, look, he's rubbish. Well, we did it with Sancho and it didn't work out.
Like I said, list all those players. And that's in like a decade, you know what I mean? List all those players, Lukaku, Di Maria, Falcao, Sanchez, now Sancho. I mean, and every single one of those players, when we signed them, we were like, I tell you what, we mean business. We mean business. Now look at us, you know.
Jason says, no, Pepe is still worse than Sancho, though. But I think we're talking about this with Josh and a couple other Arsenal fans. Like, is he?
Well, and also,
there was a period where Pepe was like the main man. Not main man, but doing all right. I don't think there's ever been a period at Man United in the 2 and a bit years where Sancho's ever been the main guy.
And also, I mean, we can compare 1-to-1, but if you really look at the totality, again, we've just named, what, like 5, 6? I mean, previously, world-class players. Angel Di Maria, I mean, you could argue for whatever circumstances didn't work out at United, but he was the man of the match in Champions League final the season before he joined us. And he joined us, and then by the end of it, did last, one season, he's gone. He's off. Alexis Sanchez, when we got him in, everyone's like, right, this is what Jose's second season.
Casemiro was that as well. Casemiro just won the Champions League. And
yeah,
was like, amazing in the final.
With Sanchez, it's like, this is the catalyst signing. This is exactly what he needs. Lukaku, this is the long-term striker that we need.
Thank God we didn't get Alvaro Morata.
Yeah, exactly. Morata even dyed his hair red and all that kind of stuff. Agent Pogba. I mean, of course, look at the fanfare involved in that. And remember the video he had of him and Stormzy when he signed and all that kind of stuff, you know. And every single time it's this is the one. This is exactly what we need. And then at the end of it, it didn't work out.
Yeah. Then the smaller ones, like Memphis Depay. Like, I know he wasn't as big a name and as big a money, but what we expected him to be versus what he turned out to be, way off, you know. Then you got like ones that are short term, but again, what we doing essentially, what's his name, Cavani. It's like, world class player in his day,
even
but Ronaldo, like, although he did score goals in the first
this season, is Ollie's final season. This is the little bit we extra need to win the league, and then doesn't work out.
The way it ends, it's going to go in the bin. But essentially, that first season where he scored like 18 goals, you're like, he's taking a piss. He's still got it. Like, let's be honest, that's what we thought. And then the team just absolutely capitulated, and he went. But yeah, I just think it's another one that goes into the bag. And then you're like, is Anthony going to be the next one? Because the signs ain't looking great. Don't want to write him off. It's only his second season, but sooner or later, after this season, we're going to judge him, see what it's like. Then it's 2 full seasons. He's got to have quite a good season to avoid the conversation.
Well, yeah,
turn your head and say, let's have a talk.
Yeah, let's have a talk. There's the price.
I mean, we have to have a wicked season to avoid that.
With Sancho too, what's quite interesting is because he's so young, there is a chance that he goes elsewhere and he does well. Or like in a couple of years, he does well. And you go, we never saw that Sancho. But because a bit like, for instance, Di Maria, right? When everywhere he went out, he went afterwards, whether it was PSG or Juventus or whatever. Every time you watched him play, you go, he's still good. It's still really, really good. It just didn't work out. Something about Lukaku. He scored goals at United, but everywhere else he's gone, maybe apart from Chelsea, but he's still doing it now. Serie A, scoring goals for Roma. I know they're struggling a bit, but he's still scoring goals for them. Scored goals for Inter Milan. He won the league with Inter Milan when he went back there. These other players, they move on. Even Alexis Sanchez did all right at Inter. So
that's the young one in the league, mate.
Yeah, exactly. So these players,
didn't Darmian as well.
I know. It was kind of wild, isn't it? That's Conte, though. Conte literally picked up, Man United Premier League rejects and won the league. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
but
Moses in them.
But at the same time, just like I said, it's one of those lists that is quite unfortunate, and people will always point to. It looks like Sanchez will be able to it, and like you said, maybe next year or season after, you go, Anthony, what's going on with you?
Mate, I'm saying at the end of the season, if he's been crap, and obviously he's missed this part of it, so let's see what happens now. And what even happens with that situation, but I don't know. There's going to be another inquest, put it that way. Victor says we always say we will see the best version of players at United, but they always fail. It's not the players, it's the club. We always make players worse, and more often than not, they leave the club and go on to win United in the mud. Yeah, you can't ignore that as well. You can't ignore that. All these players can't be crap. I do agree with that. The institution's broke. Whether one thing is going to identify the talent, and bring them in. The next bit is to nurture them, to help them grow, to help them improve. And at so many other clubs, at all the other clubs, let's be honest, but let's just talk about Liverpool, let's talk about City, let's talk about Arsenal at the minute, even Villa, but let's just, and Brighton, but let's just talk about Arsenal, Liverpool,
Newcastle.
City, Newcastle. They make every player they get better. Like, I'm looking at Arsenal's buys. Ben White is a better player. Ramsdale is now a better player. Tomiyasu is now a better player. Gabriel Jesus, probably just the same Jesus because he's good anyway. But yeah, Odegaard, far better plays, world class now. Saka, they didn't buy him, but they've made him amazing. You know what I mean? Martinelli didn't buy him, or did sort of when he was a kid, but you know what I mean? Comes through the academy. Amazing now. You know what I mean? They make players better. Look at Declan Rice. Technically, you could argue he's still the same. He's just in a better team, so he shines more. But he's going to look better now. Man City don't even need to. You don't need to do it.
You don't need to do it. The individuals. That's
I know it was shit yesterday, by the way.
Yeah,
but they trust in what they do so much that Pep went, I'm just going to play Rico Lewis centre mid away at the Emirates.
Well, yeah, look at that, like the defenders, whatever. They'll get Ake and be like, who'd they get him from? And then was it Bournemouth, or whatever? So we'll make him one of the best.
And Ake, if he went to any other, he wouldn't be.
Yeah,
like he wouldn't be like that.
Look, something like a Kanji, we'll just get him from Dortmund. There you go, it's brilliant.
Exactly.
Rodri, brought him in, took him a year. Now best defensive midfielder arguably in the world. You know what I mean?
Liverpool,
even Grealish. Even Grealish.
Same thing is improved. Liverpool, there's so many. We don't even need to touch on the likes of Mo Salah and Alisson and Van Dijk, Roberts. Yeah. There's no need. There's no need. Even people like Jota gone up a level. Do you know what I mean? Szoboszlai's quality. I mean, they're just gonna
Newcastle
go up.
Guimaraes, Isaac,
Joe Linton, mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Joe Linton was a failed striker. So, and all of a sudden, Anthony Gordon, everyone was laughing. Who does this kid think he is?
All right, now.
Remember, who's this kid think he is? He should have stayed at Everton. He ain't really done anything. Now he's at it every game for Newcastle. And he's injured a bit, isn't he? But he's been brilliant. Just at it, real live wire, real, helping how they play, helps their style. Even Jamal Lascelles out the flipping team for ages, basically just sitting there as club captain, don't play anymore. It's Botman and Shah, and he's needed, he's called upon, put the armband still on, puts in a great performance. So exactly. Kieran Trippier, again, just solid the whole time. So
I wish we'd have got him. We were linked. Remember
that was 2 years ago.
Early UV shows, I remember doing them, and me and you were like, bring him in. And people were like, no.
I was told it was because they went in too late, and he was like, no, like not now. And I want to be number one. At the time, it was obviously...
Yeah, because the idea was he was going to play back up to either Wan-Bissaka. Well, Dalot was going to go, wasn't he? That was the point.
Exactly.
Was, And now, can you imagine Kieran Trippier and this Erik ten Hag team? Perfect. Exactly what you need. Good on the ball, good defensively. And people at the time were going, he's washed after he's played Atletico and he won the league, by the way.
Always been a quality footballer. Like, just proper footballer, just knows what to do. Again, not amazing in, duels and wins out like Kyle Walker pace and all that. No, but on the ball, very astute, great delivery, understands the game, top pro.
But I do think actually Newcastle was the better move for him because he's captain there, isn't he? Pretty much. Lascelles is the club captain, but he's basically captain all the time. And he's like, he was one of the first to make the jump when Newcastle was struggling, and he helped them. I think that's the perfect role for him.
The perfect. We would have, like someone said that, we would have ruined him. Let's be honest. In a couple of years, he might have been like, I sod this, I'm out. You know what I mean? But big up Trips. I'm really happy for him that he's. Do you know what I mean? That's his career since he's left Spurs has just been really insane. You know what I mean? So. Good luck to him, man. I just quickly, I wanted to just because I haven't really been looking at the Premier League table much for obvious reasons. Yeah. But then when you win and a few results go your way, I thought let me just have a look at it because I honestly didn't know where we were in the league during all of this stuff happened. I didn't even look at the league once because I just didn't want to bit down in it. I'm like, what's the point? I don't even care. But then when you look at it, right, when you look at it, obviously we're banging mid-table. We're disgracing cheap. Yeah, we just about make the page one. Yeah, cool. I get that. But Newcastle are doing really well, amazing season and stuff. We're 1 point behind them. Brighton were 4 points behind. I think we're 7 points off fourth. Of course, we're not where we want to be. When you come out of the international break, it's Arsenal versus Chelsea. I don't know. I just feel like. If we could, like we've been saying, we have to just start picking up some wins, and we can start to just be amongst it again, where it doesn't, because basically after Palace, it felt like, and Galatasaray, it just felt like the season's over.
Yeah,
but it's not. It's not
no,
over.
It's one of those ones, isn't it? Where when it's early in the season like this, you only really look at the table if you're in like top 3 or something like that. You know, if you're leading the pack and you're that close, because that's when you really look at it. You know, if you're like you said, like top half, really, it's not a fair reflection until what sort of November, December-ish sort of time, because then it starts to not really change as much on a regular basis. And I mentioned it to Kenny actually before we went live yesterday. Not only was the obviously the win really important for us because we hadn't won in ages and Ten Hag needed it, but at the same time, actually, near enough most people above us dropped points at the weekend, particularly yesterday, whether it's Brighton and Liverpool, whether it was Newcastle, obviously City, Arsenal won, but lots of teams, Aston Villa, didn't they drop points, I think, as well? So, so we've, caught up a little bit there. I was listening to the Gary Neville podcast this morning. I always listen to it on a Monday. I always enjoy listening to Gary Neville. It is good. They do it straight after the game on the gantry. Peter Jury and Gary
like this when he does his piece. And I thought it's Arsenal side will lose this game 7-0.
Exactly. And I wish I could do a good Peter Jury impression. I can't, but he's very good with it as well. Yeah. So he was talking about that, and they were sort of saying, look, it's obviously really early into the season, but this season, of course, it's not just the top 4 that get the Champions League, it's the top 5. So do you think, because he was sort of saying, well, let's say City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and at the moment you could argue Spurs. Look, Spurs are top of the table, so you can't rule them out. They could drop off. So they're saying that could be theoretically the top 4. He was sort of saying, who's that 5th place going to be? And the big headline, because of course United's always the headline, was Manchester United won't make the Champions League next season. They won't make the top 5. Where do you sit on that? Because if we're saying it's City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, to get to that 5th position and the 5th position into the Champions League, it could be Brighton, it could be Newcastle, it could be Villa, and it could be potentially us. They're the big teams involved in that. Do United get into that 5th spot, Flex, in comparison to those other teams as well?
I know. You'd say you'd be very reluctant to say yes because of how we're playing right now. When I look at the top 4 as it is, you're basically saying it's going to be that, right? Obviously, I'm not saying Spurs win the league, but I'm saying that will be it. And then after that, it's already those teams that will be the problem teams as well. You know what I mean? Villa, Brighton, Newcastle. West Ham deserve credit for being there at the minute, but you'd think they'll drop. Chelsea, again, everyone's been laughing at them, but
I didn't mention Chelsea as well. Yeah,
that's what I mean. They're only 1 point behind us. So if we're almighty in all glory, we can't be acting like Chelsea can't surpass us by putting a little bit of a run together. Now they've got a tough run coming up, but we're inconsistent. I would still like to believe that we can finish at least 5th, but there is a genuine chance we won't get in the Champions League. Absolutely.
That gap feels way tighter than it was last season, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But actually, that you said Newcastle, Chelsea, Brighton, Aston Villa, us. You really could not put a lot between those teams. And in form, actually, United feel actually quite far apart in terms of how they're playing. Like you watch Newcastle play, you go, that's what they're playing brilliant. You watch Brighton play, they've always got that game where they could lose like 5-1 in them just because of the way they play. But you watch them play, they play brilliant. You watch Villa play, you go, Emery, he's got something going on there again. So, and in Chelsea, they've got the players and the spending power, and it could click.
They get a few back from injury. They get Bradley Shields back. They get Nkunku back. They get Reece James back.
Chilwell. If in January they decide, right, we're going to get a striker, a proper striker. You don't know. And then, like I said,
getting a bit of confidence now as well.
And then you compare United to that, and just in terms of not in terms of players, got better players than some of those teams, but in terms of the way we're playing and the way we're sort of scraping through matches, it's alarming. But I think from a neutral's point of view, you would say that that's a good bunch of teams that are going for like that 5th spot. And if those teams above them start to drop down, and they might as the season goes on, it does feel like this season, even with City, you do get the impression that actually in that sort of those top sort of 10 teams, anyone really could be anyone. They really could.
Well, we're 8 points off top, yeah? Right, we're 8 points behind Spurs and Arsenal, right?
What if we get our players back, Flex? we
can get our players back all of a sudden. Like, look, I'm not saying. Look, everyone's acting like some of the other teams might not drop off as well. Liverpool give you chances. They're not firing, but they outscore most teams. Tottenham, look, they were in and around. I mean, this is now officially their best start to a Premier League campaign, but they were in and around this position last year.
Yeah,
at the top. If they get an injury, well, now Basuma's out for a game. Let's see. But they have only got Fulham at home, so they'll win. But I just look, they're doing fantastically well, but we can't just assume that they'll be that for the whole season. You know what I'm saying? You can make an educated guess because they're not in the Champions League, they're not in the Carabao Cup as well, so they'll be fresh every week, and that does help. In a season like this when you're going through a transition, when you only got that to focus on. I get it, but Villa, how do we not know they're going to go for a bad patch of form? Same with Brighton, West Ham. You know what I mean? It's only 8 games. It's only 8 games, and I get it. I'm not doing the false hope thing of saying I don't know why everyone's panicking. We're going to be absolutely fine. We'll be okay. It's worrying. It is, but we can't just. The season is not over after 8 games. It isn't. No. You shouldn't really do this, but I was just forced to a little bit. The next round of games is Man City, Brighton. Man City probably beat Brighton at home, if not draw, or if Brighton.
Well, you don't know. You don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Man City look off it, but there's points to be dropped because they're both playing each other. Chelsea and Arsenal are playing, and Villa and West Ham are playing. They're all above us, and there's going to be points to be dropped. Do your jobs, Man United, and beat Sheffield United at home, which obviously with our team we don't away. Sorry, which obviously with our team we don't know if we can do it, but we should. We should. And then all of a sudden, we've caught up 3 points on Brighton. We've caught up 3 points on maybe Villa. We've caught up 3 points on maybe Chelsea or Arsenal. Or who knows? Do you know what I mean?
It's going to be tight. I think that's the point that I was trying to make is that because anyone legitimately can beat anyone, fortunately for a United...
Then we play City. Sorry, just quickly, Owen. And then we play City.
Yeah. And I mean,
and again, that version of City, I know people are reluctant to flex, don't say. I'll be on. What's annoying me is that version of City as they are right now. It's a good time to play them.
This is the thing. This is the thing for the start that Arsenal had. Have had this season. Let's make no mistake. Like, we were unfortunate away at the Emirates. Like, it collapsed because we lost both our centre backs in that game, and we had a goal ruled out for offside. That who knows if the lines are actually properly accurate, right? It might have been a different one if it was automated offside. I know that's a lot of what ifs, but like I said, because we're in the position in terms of a league where legitimately anyone can beat anyone, and no one's running away with it. Was it Spurs and Arsenal same amount of points? City not that far behind, Liverpool not that far behind, and then you've got the others sort of in and around that sort of 5th to 8th or 9th, really, which we kind of fall into now, being in 10th. It's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot more compact than it was maybe last season. Towards the end of the season, that sort of top 3 or top 4. So it started to kind of pull away towards the end, really, because it was top 4 for the second half of the season was pretty much City, Arsenal, Newcastle, and us, wasn't it? That's really what it was, and that kind of just kind of stayed that way. I think for this season, it's going to be a bit tighter, a bit bunched up. Not in terms of I think the top 2 or 3 might pull away like they did before, but those remaining Champions League spots. As long as we stay in the conversation for long enough.
Stay in the exactly. That's all it is. Because again, the way we're playing, we're not confident of anything. We don't know what's around the corner, and we definitely have not turned the corner by winning that game against.
No. And that's not to say our issues are resolved.
Not say,
you're saying we're going to get Champions League. It's like no. What we're saying is that yes, you can be concerned about performances and results and what have you. But that's why, for instance, the weekend was so important because you've just got to stay in it. Just got to stay in it. Whilst you're not playing well, whilst you're still trying to figure things out, we're trying to get people back from injury. Just stay in it. Stay in the conversation. You never know what can happen.
Daniel Luciano says, I think the fact that we will simply have an actual left back will be a whole boost. No more makeshift backline beside Bruno at right wing. Big up Flex, Owen and UV fam. Yeah, we just need to get some players back to their positions, man. I mean, I know Martinez is going to be gone for ages. Looks like Luke Shaw's still going to be out for ages. I mean, actually, that's been about
they said Malacia back before after this international break, so Malacia might be back soon. And then you got a situation where you got Reguilon, bruv, and Malacia back, and then suddenly you got 2 left backs back, and got Kobbie Mainoo, another midfielder back too. So, but then I don't know what's going on with Varane. So
they said that as a minor thing. He should be back after the international break. I think they said that the first time. But that was just all that was as well. Like we said, in this little period of games,
that what happened at any point.
Yeah, Varane ain't going to be able to play. Do you know what I mean? He had to play against Galatasaray. He had to play against Palace. Do you know what I mean? But after that, it's like, yeah, he technically needs to play. He needed to play against Brentford because we just lost against Palace and Galatasaray, but he couldn't.
Yeah.
It's too much.
But shout out to Maguire and Evans because they did very well.
Exactly. Smash a like on the video on the way out. We're at 246, which is discretion cheat. You guys can do better than that. I know you can. We'll be with any breaking news that is across Manchester United over the next couple of weeks during the international break. And we'll see you all again soon. Take care, guys. Peace.